Hey guys, it's Katie. Today we're going to make another flower cane just because I need one for a project. And I haven't been doing that much purple. I'm not a huge fan of purple, but I'm going to use purple. And I want to mix purple with white just to get a more of a lilac color. So today I'm using Kato. I actually really like the consistency of Kato, especially in the summertime. In the winter it's a little crumbly. I don't mind the smell. It has a smell, but it doesn't bother me. You know, when I first opened it, I was like, whoa, what is that kind of smell? But it's not like it's a horrible smell. I mean, it really just doesn't bug me. But Kato's super strong. It polishes up nicely. You know, I ordered a beginner's kit when I first started on Amazon, I believe, and some of them were really crumbly. The way I figured that out, like this one isn't. This one's not that crumbly. It is like 90 degrees out today, which helps. But in the summer, if your clay is getting really sticky, Kato's awesome. But I did get white, and it was super crumbly. So what I did, in the beginning, what I did was, okay, I bought some clay conditioner. It was Sculpey clay conditioner, clay softener. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if I can actually find it right now. Let me see. Hang on, I got all my little bottles here. No. Aha. So I bought this, so I was like, oh, this will work. And I mixed it in with, it was the copper color, Kato copper, I think it is. And it wouldn't do anything. And I mixed and mixed and mixed, and it was like the oil, it wasn't doing anything. So I put that in a Ziploc baggie and left it aside. And a couple months later, I came back and was like, let me try conditioning this again. And it had absorbed the oil. So what I did when I first got another block of Kato white, I chopped it up into small pieces. I dripped some of this clay softener in there, and then I just let it set for a while. That gives it time to really absorb into the clay, and I find that works. So I have some that's been sitting here for, you know, a while. I mean, I use my Primo, but I really like Kato. So I'm going to take some of this white, and I'm going to condition it, and I'm going to mix it in with that purple to get a lilac, and then, or slightly lighter. I don't want it too light. Let me take a little log of it and mix it with white. And then maybe a tiny little bit of white in this, because I don't want this too light. Okay. And then we're also going to need some black. So, just plain black. So let me get all this mixed up, and I'll be back. So I have a little log here with quite a bit of white. And I'll come back when it's mixed up. And then I have a bigger log here with a little bit of white. Okay. And I'll mix this so you can see the shades of purple. I want this one a little lighter. I want this one quite a bit lighter. And we'll see how this works out. Now I have a fly in here and it's driving me insane and I can't kill it. But that's what happens in the summer. So if you see it, it's going to bug the crap out of me. And this is actually a good way if you have, sorry, I have hiccups. If you have Sculpey 3 to mix it in with your Kato to change the color, because Sculpey 3, the Kato will make it stronger. And, you know, Kato has very basic colors, purple, blue. So if you wanted to change the colors, like instead of using the Kato white, I could have just used my Sculpey 3 white. And I wish I would have done that, but I didn't, so it is what it is. I'll be back when these hiccups are gone and I have it mixed. Now this is, I still have hiccups, sorry. With Kato, I find if it's really crumbly, the best way to mix it is by hand. So the way I mix up a stiffer clay is by, you know, putting the pieces like you saw, and then I'll kind of roll it out into a log, and I'll twist it, and then I'll put it together, twist it again, until I get, you know, a fairly homogeneous mix, or the white kind of fairly distributed. Then what I'll do is I'll roll this through my thickest setting until I have a long strip like this. Okay? And then I'll fold it in thirds. This is kind of skinny because it's only a small amount. Like this. And then I'll roll it through. You never want to have one of your folds at the top when it goes through last, or going through the rollers last. You always want to where the air, if the rollers are pinching it here, you always want the air to be able to come out a crack or a fold. You don't want to trap it in. So I'll put it in my machine with the rollers hitting this part first, like that, and then I fold in thirds, and again I'll put it in where the folds are up here so the air can come out. And folding it in thirds like this, one, will help condition it, though I've already conditioned it quite a bit by rolling it, but this will help to mix it in a lot quicker, and will distribute that white a little faster, whether you fold it like this and run it through your machine, or fold it like this and just fold the two ends in, and that way the ends are getting conditioned and moving to the middle, and the other color is coming through. These hiccups, I don't know why they started right when I started recording. You know, what's funny is I've been posting these videos to show people techniques, and a couple of times I've gotten things of how I could do it differently. And there are tons of ways to do things. And my goal is for you to take the technique and do it differently. Not, and this may sound like an asshole kind of thing to say, not to tell me. So I posted a how to fix like UV resin thing, and someone was like, oh, if you take a UV torch, you'll get less spillage. My problem, not my problem, but my point to that video was to show you how to fix UV resin, not how to avoid the issues, because there's all kinds of reasons that you can get a drip. I just wanted to show you how to fix it, not how to avoid it, because we get distracted and you may just tilt something just right. Or if I was to use a UV torch before I put it in my machine, I'd get that rippling effect. If I accidentally did tilt it, the top layer would be cured but the inside wouldn't. I don't know. So I'm just showing you one way to do things. My goal is for you to branch out and discover things on your own. I don't know. That may have totally sounded like a jerk rant, and I really didn't mean it to sound like that, but anyways. So here are my two colors. So I have the purple, which is very similar to the natural purple, just a hair lighter, and then I have this one that's a hair lighter than that. So our little bit we're going to set aside for now. This one, I'm going to get some black, and we're going to make a Skinner blend from black to purple. I don't want an equal amount. I want mainly purple, and maybe, you know, if I had a whole, maybe this much black. So twice as much purple to black is what I'm doing, but do whatever colors you want. Okay, so with this flower petal technique, we're going to be making, and you could leave this, you don't need to make a whole flower with any of these. You can just make them a petal, cut them in slices, and put them down. And again, use whatever colors you need or you want for a certain project. This is just a technique to show you how to make this one. So my black was a little crumbly. I haven't even rolled it through my pasta machine yet because the warmth of my hand is softening it. Sometimes if it's really crumbly, if you leave it in the pack, or even if you have it out, if you hit it with your roller or a mallet, it'll start to bring it together. That can work as well if it's really crumbly. But again, I chopped up a bunch of the black and put it in a bag with the softener probably 2 months ago. And I've been using it here and there. But this time of year, it's a great time to use Kato because everything is so soft. Like yesterday, so I was going to post this video on a basic bullseye flower petal. Yeah, well, I was backfilling this, and I got to about here with one kind of translucent, and then I ran out. So I had to open a new pack of translucent, and it was a lot harder. And so this side did not reduce as evenly as this side. I mean, they reduced evenly for the translucent that was around it, so I packed these three with one pack of translucent. They are fairly even, and then I reduced this, and then I packed these three with a different kind of translucent. So half of this is bigger, but I'm still going to use this in a future project. So if you want to make that project, just make a simple bullseye cane and then turn them into flower petals. But this one's kind of a different, it's not as I mean, it's simple, but it's not as simple as a bullseye one. Most of you know, it's a Skinner blend bullseye is what I did. Just made a Skinner blend, made it in a long sheet, and rolled it up with the light on the inside, the dark on the outside. So let me get this through my pasta machine. Actually, I'm going to make a Skinner blend. So what I'm going to do is a teardrop Skinner blend. God, these hiccups. Okay, there's one. And it's still a little crumbly, but we're going to put it through the pasta machine a whole bunch, so it will get even softer. Trying to roll it up into a ball. It's definitely harder, but once you get working with it and it softens up, it doesn't get as soft as the other ones do this time of year. So I'll just do a teardrop, or you can make triangles, or however you normally do Skinner blends. And you could use 3 colors, 2 colors, whatever colors you want. So I'm going to roll this through my pasta machine just to thin it out some. Okay, and then I'm going to do a Skinner blend with it. So I'm going to fold to where I always have one color on the end touching itself and the other color on the other end touching itself. And I'm always going to put it in the pasta machine with 2 colors touching the roller. Never just one color touching the roller. You know, if my table's the roller, you always want to put it in where both of your colors, or all 3 of your colors, however many colors, are touching your roller. So I'm going to keep doing the Skinner blend until I'm happy with it. And you can take it down to as seamless of a blend as you want. I like to keep it a kind of a skinny blend, so I always pinch the sides a little bit. And I'm going to keep working on that, and I'll be back. Okay, so I have this Skinner blend done, and I think I want this purple just a hair lighter than that. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit more of white in there, and I am going to add some Sculpey 3 in there. One, because it'll mix faster, but it's not a large amount, so because I don't want it to be a crazy amount lighter, just a little bit lighter, maybe like that. And you don't even, when you see what we're doing, you don't even need to have the same color. You'll see. I shouldn't say that until we do it. So I'm going to mix this guy up. Let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, that's better for me. So kind of like that. Okay, so what we need to do next, like we do with most of our flower canes or petal canes or whatever, is cut this into long sections, or strips, so we can make a long strip out of it. So I cut, you can measure to get this perfect, but so I'll cut a little strip and then I'll put the cut side to the cut side, and for me it's easier to tell that I have the colors lined up correctly. And some people don't use this last little part. I do. So I'm going to use it like that. Okay. And then we have a thick stack, but this is too thick to go through my pasta machine. So with Kato, you can pull it just like any other clay, but it's going to pull a little slower. You can roll this a little bit. Either way, you just need to get it a little thinner to go through your machine. Oh, this fly is driving me insane. I gotta get my fly swatter from upstairs. Okay, so you're gonna put this through your pasta machine on your thinnest usable setting. So I started out on a 0, so I'm gonna run it through on a 0. The other thing is, you always, when you're running it through, to elongate, so you're running it from one color to the other, you want to put your dark color in first, and that way if you have any smudge in your pasta machine, it sticks to here and not to your lighter color, especially if you're like using white or something. A little air bubble there. I'm just going to slice it, push it out. It's always best to get your air bubbles out if you see them, when you see them. So I'm going to run this down through my pasta machine until I get to the thinnest setting I think I can use before it starts sticking together. Some pasta machines you can go right from a 0 being your thickest to your thinnest setting. Others you have to go down each step at a time. I can jump 2 steps. So I'm going to do I did a 0. I'm going to go to a 3 maybe, or 2. You know, so I can jump a couple steps, but I can't jump too much. Otherwise it will shred my clay. Now the nice thing with the Kato is it's not overly sticky. I did get a little stuff on that. See, but it stuck to my black. So even if I couldn't have gotten that off, it would have been better than sticking to my light color. So right now I'm on a setting 5. I think I'm going to go again. Maybe a 7. Which will be the thinnest I've been able to do recently, because it's been so hot. My Primo, my Souffle, my Cernit, all of that's been really sticking together if I go this far, but this one doesn't seem too bad. Let me just peel it apart gently, because I don't have an automated machine, so it's really hard for me to hold it. Perfect. Okay. So now that we have a nice long strip, what we need to do next is take this second color. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to roll this into a small little log about the width of this strip here. And like I said, you could use a totally contrasting color. You'll see once the cane is made. And run with it. Have fun with it. So I'm going to make like a little log. Try to make it even. Okay, so we're going to wrap the most similar color around that, or your lighter color, around this little log here. Just like that. And then roll it out, just to kind of get all the seams even. Okay. And I'm going to leave my ends on, so you can see the little log in the center. We're going to cut this in half. Like that. And we're going to make this a teardrop shape. So pinch your, make a teardrop. We're going to do the same thing with this one, making this one a teardrop. This is a pretty simple petal. Oop. It doesn't need to be perfect, just kind of make it somewhat of a teardrop shape. Okay, and then we're going to put the two, one's way taller than the other, so it's because I didn't cut super evenly in half. So I'm going to stretch that one to get it longer, and we're going to put the two together. Kind of just squish them together. And we're going to make, again, another teardrop shape. It really doesn't matter, you just got to get them together. And then we're going to cut this in half. And make sure it's all about the same thickness, so I have about the same amount of clay. Okay. And it's because I didn't cut this evenly the first time. So one of my halves was bigger than the other. The purple in the middle is bigger, but that's totally okay. Now, the more times you just do what we did, push them together, the more of this pattern you will get. So it really just depends on you on how thick or how fine of a pattern you want. You just got to get it all pushed together. So you could cut that again, you know, stick it together, bring it out, cut it in half again, put it together. I mean, really, as many times as you want to do that, you can. Sorry, my nose itches. Maybe one more time. I mean, you could cut it into thirds. You could cut it however you want. Maybe one more time. Let's see what we got. See? So really, as many times as you want to cut this, you can cut this and stick it together. And each time that pattern's going to get thinner and thinner and thinner, same as many other flowers that we've done and cut and stuck them together. Okay, so I think that's as many times I'm going to stick it together, cut it and stick it together. So now I just need to get this long enough. Now, at this point, you could shape this into a petal and then just take slices and lay it on a project and make a flower shape. Or you can make this a complete flower cane. So that's always up to you, whether you want to just keep it a petal cane or make it a whole flower. So I need to reduce this to get 5 or 6. We'll see. I don't have tons here. Maybe I'll just reduce it as a circle by pinching. I might only have enough to do 5. So with my pointer finger and my thumb, just like a lot of the other flower petals, I'm just going to begin pinching. And rotating and pinching and rotating. Trying to do even pressure all the way around. It's not that round though. It's okay. And this will definitely give your hand more of a workout if you're using a clay like Kato. But I really like Kato clay. I really, really do. I'm a fan of Kato. And it only really smells strong when you first open it, but it's not a bad smell to me. It's not like a disgusting smell or anything. It smells like vinyl almost. Kind of what it reminds me of, vinyl. I mean, it's a plastic. Polymer clay is ultimately a plastic. So that's what you're getting. And obviously they have different elastomers and different parts of the clay, different polymers in it to make it stronger that have a smell to them. That's what you get sometimes. It just depends what you want out of your clay. Okay, so let me see here. Because if I cut off the excess, I would have, so far, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I definitely need to reduce this smaller. So these are going to be kind of small. Let me just try pulling a little bit. A little thicker in the middle here. That's all excess there, maybe to there. 3, 4, almost 5. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit more, and then I'll be back. We'll probably just do a 5 petal at this point, because I don't want to make them too small for on camera. That's kind of hard to work with when it gets that small to show people. That'll probably be good. Okay, so I don't know where all this dog hair is coming from. I'm going to cut these ends off. And don't throw these away. See? I'll cut this end off. And you can see the light stripe down in there. So if you want the light towards the center, your center, you pinch it more like that. So that's what we got. And then, yeah, that'll be 5 1-inch sections. Okay. So now you just need to shape it however you want your petal to look. And there's many ways you can shape different petals. You can make them kind of long and thinner like daisies. You can have them fatter. You can have them skinny like this. You can have them fatter like that. You can have them narrow at both ends. So really however you want to design your petal, just do that. And so I can see, it's hard to see it on camera, but the stripe or that little block, that little sausage we put in of the lighter purple is down at the bottom. And do I want that at the top of my petal? You know what, I might put that on the outside of my petal. So I'm going to have the darker on the inside. So I'm going to pinch the one end, and then I'm going to look at the other end because it may be distorted. So I'm going to pinch the other end right where I need it to be pinched. And then you can kind of see, like, I pinched here and I pinched here. They're totally off center. So you can kind of get them twisted to get them kind of even with each other. And then pinch down. And as you're pinching, your pinch end's going to flare out. So you want to make sure you bring it back in. And I'm doing a 5-petal flower, which I'm not a huge fan of the 5-petal. That's just, like, for making it. I don't mind the way it looks. It's just for making it myself. I prefer a 6-petal. It's less backfill. But I didn't really have enough clay to do that. Yeah, like, right here is the light. And on this one, the light's over here. See what I mean? So, you definitely want to, don't just pinch straight down. So, pinch your whatever end you want in your center, and then find it on the other side and pinch it, and you'll see these are totally, can you see that? One pinch is here and one's way over here. So I need to try to bring them in line with each other. But if I would have just done one end and pinched straight down, it would have been in the wrong spot. I hope that makes sense, what I'm trying to say to you. Okay, I'm going to do the rest of these, and I'll be right back once I'm done that. See, this one's way over here and that one's way over there. I got to definitely get them twisted to each other. That's so funny. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so this is what I have so far, and they're just kind of sitting next to each other. I have them all roughly the same height. What we need to decide now is, do we want a center? Do we want no center? Do you want a center that really stands out? Do you want to make a fun, unique center? You can kind of do whatever you want for a center. You can make a bullseye cane. You can make a jelly roll. You can just use a solid color. You can do no center. So, you know, you could do the light purple in the center. So I need to decide what I want for my center now. Do I want this light purple in the middle there? You know, just take some different colors and see. I don't know what I want. I'm just kind of just looking at it, you know. Do I want to stick a light purple in there and have a light purple center? I could have a black center. I could mix this up, my end canes, and put that in there. I might do this light purple. So let me get an even roll of this light purple because that's all messed up. And I'll come back when that's done. Okay, so now I have it rolled out into a thin strip, and the fatter it is, the more noticeable your center is going to be. I'm going to get it roughly to the height, but I want two nice clean ends. Okay, and I'm going to stick that on my top petal here, right on the point, just like that. And then we're going to stick each other petal on it. So these two kind of look similar, these two here, and these two look similar. So I'm going to put that one like that one like that probably. I'm not sticking them together yet. And those two down there. Now I need to decide, do I want my petals separated or do I want them touching each other? So if you want them touching each other, you would put them together right now and then backfill. I want them separated in this one, so I'm going to get some translucent and I'll show you how to keep each petal separate. Okay, so I have some translucent here, and I'm gonna, because these are very small petals, I'm not gonna roll this out of my thickest setting. I'm gonna do one of my thinner settings. The other thing is I want to clean my pasta machine so that dark clay that I was just using, the black and the purple, doesn't stick onto that, or I can try to help it. So I'm just taking a paper towel and sticking it under my rollers on the bottom side and just rubbing back and forth just to get some of that gunk stuck off under there. I'm going to roll this. Yeah, I'll probably do that setting 5 on my pasta machine, where 0 is the thickest, 9 is the thinnest. And what we're going to do, let me take one of these. We're going to wrap it from about here to here on the bottom, okay? So let me roughly get one about the height. And because these are small, I had you zoomed in so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So I'm sorry that it's off onto the side here. So I have a little strip right here. And what I'm going to do is pinch the end, one of the ends, because I want it to taper up to the top of my flower. So I'm going to pinch the end, and the pinched end I'm going to lay going towards the wide part of my flower, like that. Yeah, it's a little narrow. I got to widen it a little bit. I'm going to wrap it around the point, and then I'm going to cut it roughly where I want it. And each one doesn't need to be exact because it's a flower. And then I'm going to pinch this other end here to taper it. And I'm going to lay that on there. Just like that. See that? And this will keep each of the petals separated when you do this to each one of them. a little excess. Okay. So I'm going to do that to each one of them. I'll be back. Okay, now I have that all done. I'm just setting them against the center. I'm doing one end first, and then I'm flipping it and looking at the other end. Like that. And you can just stick them all together. You don't have to have each petal separate like this. Okay, and then we need to begin backfilling down in the centers here, or on the edges here. And so I see a really skinny little triangle, so I'm going to take my translucent and get it all together. And however you want to backfill, you can backfill. I'm going to roll myself out a little log. And then I'm going to take my two fingers like this, which makes a triangle, and I'm just going to pinch it. And set it down in there. Like that. And I like to do that on each one first before I finish backfilling the rest of them, because then when you're holding it, you're risking pushing on one more than the other. So this will help stabilize it a little bit. Hang on. So that pinching it like that makes a little triangle. And look at both sides to make sure it's sitting down in there. One of these is wicked skinny right down in here. It's like really narrow. So with that pointer, I'm going to kind of pull up and make the point like really thin. See, the point's like really thin. Sticking. Like that. And I'll do the other two and then I'll be back. Okay, so now on some of these, this translucent butts right up against the flower petals. But on some of them, like right here, you see that space? So I'm going to take a little sausage that I rolled out, or a little snake, and I'm going to set that down. My translucent's getting soft. Set that down in there to fill in that gap. Because you don't want to push on the translucent too much, because then that's going to change the shape of your flower. So however you want to backfill it is how I would backfill it. You could make another triangle to fit in here. You could just make big sausages to fit in there. I've showed multiple ways on my other flower canes. So just again, however you normally backfill with translucent is how I would do that. This is again more of a tutorial to show you how to make this petal. And again, I put the lighter purple in there. You can see it right up here. See See those strips? I put that at the top. You could also put that towards the center. So however you want to set your flower up, you can. So I'm going to first go get lunch, and then I'm going to backfill this, and I'll be back when that's done, and I'll show you how to reduce. So just do it however you're most comfortable with getting the translucent in there and to where you don't have any large gaps. Sometimes I'll roll out a sausage, flatten it out, and then flatten the edges a little bit so it's kind of domed. And sometimes I do that. If you've watched any of my other videos, I backfill multiple different ways, and it's kind of whatever I feel like doing. And there are tons of ways to do it. There's no rhyme or reason. There's nothing super particular of how I do it. Kind of just depends on each flower. It kind of depends on my mood, what else I'm doing, if I feel like paying attention or not. You know, so you could do stuff like that. Roll in a bunch of sausages and just kind of stick them in there like that. However you want to do it. In the center here, you want to get it filled to about the top of your petals. Okay? And I'll show you when I'm done with it. And I'll probably do each one a different way. But again, it really doesn't matter how you do it as long as you get it in there. Okay. So I'm going to go eat lunch, and then I'll finish this, and then I'll be back to show you actually how I did it. Okay, I will be back. Okay, so I have it all backfilled, and I just have it kind of layered in here, and it doesn't need to be beautiful, but as long as it's all filled and as much of your gaps are filled in as possible. The next thing we need to do is wrap around an outer layer. I have this on one of my thicker settings, the setting 2 on my Atlas 150. It really doesn't quite matter. I haven't found that it matters that much. So we're going to get the width of this. This is like just long enough, but we'll make it work. And we're going to wrap that around. Oh, look at that. Look at it. It perfectly matched. I had it just long enough. And then I'm going to look on the top for any excess translucent that I can potentially save. It's a little tall. Shave that off. Definitely, it's hard to say the same tip every single time I'm doing a video, so, you know, if you like doing canes, watch my other videos, because you may get more tips out of those, or different tips. It's kind of difficult to think of everything you say and then say it every single time you make a video. Okay, so now that we got that, I'm just going to do a gentle roll just to kind of get it all smushed in, and we're going to begin reducing same way we reduce every kind of circle, with our pointer finger and our thumbs on both hands, and we're going to begin rotating in the middle, putting gentle pressure in the middle. And let me get the seam squished together there. You don't want to put too much pressure in any one spot, because then you're going to squish in one petal or one part more than another. So just tap, 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 and rotate each time. Tap, 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 tap. And we're going to do that until we get the center. And because I ate lunch, it's the translucent that I was just working with is going to move faster than the purple and stuff. And the purple is Kato, whereas the translucent is Primo. And they're going to move at 2 different rates because they're 2 different clays, but that's fine. So we're just looking to get the center of this kind of indented. And that's not quite enough for what I usually do. Hang on, I gotta rotate myself. So just with gentle pressure, when they're short and fat like this, it's a little bit different. So then once we have a little indent here, we're going to start in the middle, and we're going to do the same thing, just working our way up to one edge until we get it roughly even. And you'll feel it with your fingers. Like that. So now that's even. This side's a little wider, so I'm going to flip it, start in the middle, and work my way up to the other edge. Now, even though it's a round cane, I don't usually roll round canes to reduce them because I find I get more excess that way. So I do it like this. So now that it's fairly even, I'll do a quick roll just to kind of smooth off my fingerprints. And then again, I'm going to start in the center, and I'm going to do the same exact thing. Give it a waist. When I got a nice waist, I'm going to work up to the edge, flip it, start in the middle, work up to the edge. And I'm going to do that until I get this down to my largest size flower that I want to use on a project. I generally do like a large, medium, and small. But if you're not sure what kind of project you're going to use this on and how big you need it, again, you're better off leaving it larger, because it's always, you can always take it down rather than make it smaller, because if it's even possible, it's very difficult to make it fatter if it's kind of a cane like this. So again, because the purple I haven't been messing with for a while, it's moving kind of slowly, but once it gets going, it'll get going. So I'm going to pause that. One other thing is, again, because my translucent I was just working with, it's moving faster. So I'm going to take this translucent, I'm going to shave it off, because I might as well try to salvage any of the translucent that I can that's kind of pushing up on my end, because this end we're going to have to cut off anyways. So, you know, if your translucent's moving faster, you can always shave a little bit off here. Like that. And then I can save all this translucent, put it back in my pack. Okay, so I'm going to continue reducing, and I'll be back when that's done. I just have to say, I've been working on this 6 or 7 minutes, and it just started moving. But the whole time I didn't force it. I didn't overly push. I didn't like try to get it to start moving. It's just got to get warmed back up. So if you're in the midst of making something and you let it sit for a while, you know, you just got to get it, be patient with it, and just keep tapping. You know, watch your TV show, listen to your audiobook, listen to a podcast, whatever, and be patient with it. You don't want to push even harder because it's not moving. That's not going to help anything. So just keep tapping it, and eventually it'll start to warm up and start to move. So now I'm actually making progress. For a while there, it wasn't doing too much, and that's okay. I mean, it's totally okay. I mean, it's polymer clay, and especially when you're using a stiffer clay, it may take it a minute to get back to working kind of consistency. So I'm going to finish reducing this. I'm not done yet, but I'm going to finish reducing this. I just wanted to mention that you don't want to overforce it. You don't want to overwork it. You don't want to push even harder because you think it's not, oh my God, it's not moving. I need to push harder. Don't do that. Just keep doing the light tapping, and eventually it will start to move. Okay, I'm going to finish this and I'll be back. Okay, so this is probably what my largest size will be, and we're going to cut it. And normally you would let it rest, obviously, before you cut, because you're going to get some smearing. So let's cut, and let's see what we got. I still got some little gaps in there, but it's a pretty little flower. And you see how all the petals are separated? That's because, here, let me just squish it a little bit. all the petals are separated because we did that little layer of translucent. But if you want them touching, like these petals here, you don't put that little V of translucent in there. And I'm going to reduce this down into my medium and my small size. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, so I finished reducing. I have my large, I have a medium, and I have a small. And you can see the edges are lighter than the inside. Try to get it to focus on it. And pretty much every one looks exactly the same just by backfilling, taking your time to put that backfill in there. And then taking your time when you're reducing and not pushing too hard so you don't get distortion of one petal. So take this and run with it, you know, to make different color Skinner blends, do different color for that little bullseye, wrap it more times or double it, and or do it less times. Just have fun with it, you know, do different centers, just have a good time making canes. So I'll probably use this in a project not too long from now. I think I wanted to use this one, and then I wanted to use this very basic, even though it looks funny because of that translucent, this basic bullseye flower. I thought those might go cool together in a project. But I gotta think, I think I was gonna use my lace cane, or my cane that I made the other day on one side, and then my flowers on the other side, kind of like very similar to this one here. Just with different flowers and a different cane. So anyways, I will decide what I'm going to do and probably make a tutorial later on that part. But I just wanted to show you this flower technique. I will bake this little end piece, even though it's not perfect. I'll bake that little piece, one of my reducing ends, and I'll bake this one from that jelly roll one I made the other day. That's the end there, and I will put it in my book where I keep all my different canes and my instructions to it. I generally will bake the end cane, and that way I can kind of remember what I did in the future if I'm looking back and wanting to know what the heck, how did I make that, or if you're looking for different, like if you need something for a project but you can't think of anything, that's a good way to keep your ideas or what canes you've made in the past by just taking your end cane, baking it, and then taping it into a little book. So I have this instruction right here, and I will tape this guy down here. So anyways, I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.